this a nostalgic day off. We're live! We're live! And we're doing the drill.
We're doing construction next door.
You're gonna tell.
Shaking the walls. I don't know if they can hear it actually.
The spiking.
Hey, Veneco. How are you going?
Your message was retracted. How do you do? We do three.
What? We're live. How dare you? What? What do you mean, how dare me?
We're dead. How dare you?
How dare me?
How dare you? How dare me? Hi there. Hello, Anima.
Hey, Anima 2022X. Hey, Corvus. Hello to you too.
Hi.
Hey, random team leader.
Hi, Pete.
Team lead
How y'all doing?
to all the fun parties.
You're definitely the kind of guy I would want to take to a fun party.
Good fun parties with them.
True.
It is.
Good fun parties like partying.
Not entirely.
My fun party is being in my room.
I consider that a party, but
It's a
okay.
party.
Hey, look at this. How are you going?
There are many aspects of party. The most important aspect is that I have fun.
Sure.
You know there are other formulaic parts of what constitutes a party. You're having fun by yourself does not constitute a party.
No, it's about having fun.
No,
For anyone in the party, and I happen to be the only one at the party.
Is it a good thing not being able
Okay,
to
so
get that?
these are real parties, not like a pug party.
It's the Fellowship of the Ring by
Yes.
myself. I go to Mordor by myself. I walk to Mordor by myself.
It's probably a good question to ask, but Corky, can you hear us?
Oh, so Coke is basically saying that you can't hear anything else but the music.
Even our voice? That's not right.
Hey, Germany! Luke Abyss from Germany.
Well, they were. Who's Germany?
What's,
RAS.
I know what I
Music is too loud.
Yeah, okay, so they were correct in the assumption.
But the meters never lie.
It's not your silence, the music is too loud.
Okay.
I can hear you guys, but music
Is
a
it
bit
better?
How about now?
Is it
loud.
better?
How about now?
Is it better?
How about
Can you
now?
hear me now?
Is it better?
Can you hear me now?
Oh my gosh. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Kaidatsu.
Hi.
How are you going?
How are you going?
Yes.
Is that a?
That's his, hey, that's his party talk. He's going wild boy right now.
Good now? Fantastic.
Sweet.
Alright.
Sweet.
So today's day off is going to be about nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
In a very glitchy camera background
That's pixelated.
that's recording consistently.
We're being recorded on YouTube.
So obviously nostalgia means different things for the three of us because it's like almost three different generations represented in front of you. What I call nostalgia, what he calls nostalgia, which is like yesterday, and then what I call nostalgia, or could be three different things, but actually over the years we realized that Pi and I like a lot of the same stuff going back to nostalgia. And then there's
Me.
Rush.
Yes. Yes.
What is nostalgia to you? Game-wise. Don't say Pac-Man, because you never played Pac-Man.
I played Pac-Man.
You don't remember the music,
I don't remember Pac-Man.
so you didn't play Pac-Man.
I played Pac-Man, just not that much.
You glimpsed
I had to
at Pac-Man.
pay coins for that. And you know, parents are like, no, you ain't spending 40 cents on that arcade machine. Go buy a waffle with this 40 cents instead.
Can you imagine being a kid and not spending money on video
Dude, you
games?
can buy a waffle with 40 cents?
Back then, though. It was great.
in
Now I-
Australia.
How much is it in dollars? American dollars?
I don't know.
40 cents Australian, it's gonna be like 25 cents American.
Quarter for a waffle?
Yeah.
It was a long time
Did they
ago.
give you like a
Long
long
time
time
ago,
ago,
like-
like 10 years ago?
Yeah, you're like 12 years old.
You say like you came from time when McDonald's burger was like 10 cents. The people on skates deliver your
I don't
freaking-
actually remember. But I remember getting like a full plate of like chicken rice for like $1. And that was like my lunch for like ages.
What's a chicken rice?
Like rice and then with chicken.
What chicken? What kind of chicken?
Hainanese chicken.
Oh,
Oh,
I would like that.
well, in Australia?
No, in Singapore.
Oh, so we're back. What?
Yeah, I flew out Australia a little bit ago, and he's like, no, way back in my day in Singapore.
Okay, in Australia I got actually waffles for not that much different. I got waffles for 70 cents.
Which is
That's
still like
still-
50 cents Americans.
That's pretty cheap. So you get like one square.
It's not gonna be as big as here. I know here when you buy waffles it's like
What?
massive. Maybe because I
Waffles this big?
Maybe I go to Griddle and that's why.
Where's Griddle?
What's a
Is
good
it Griddle? What's that restaurant?
IHOP?
Not IHOP. Ah, I can't remember, but they gave me a huge ass waffle and I ate it until I
Died.
well, died is one way for it. Let's just say it caused issues down the road.
Floating in? Yeah, we have
So-
green stuff,
We're bullying Rush.
as we always do.
It's just because he was like, hey guys, way back in the day, and I was like,
Yeah,
Like actual days.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Not here.
Actually, most of the games I played as a kid I still play today, so it's kind of weird.
Wow, bullying. It's not bullying if he enjoys it.
And he enjoys it because we tell him to.
You get paid to enjoy it, so. A lot of people get bullied for $0. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're getting bullied and
Getting paid
getting
already.
paid.
Man. Hey Xena the Demon, how are you? Moon and Nights, Anima, Grand Chase Nostalgia.
We could actually roll back on Grand Chase as a point of nostalgia. Oh man, I was gonna say 11 years until it's been 12 years.
5 minutes of stream and promoting bullying already.
I'm not promoting bullying, I'm just saying you could make a career out of it.
Yeah.
It pays.
My god. Help.
No, he doesn't need help.
Puts up like a piece of paper with help on it.
And we'll write it all in green. On green paper.
Bullying Russian.
I gotta get you. Ooh, I'm so scared. That was my sarcastic word.
And Ian's gonna get me a waffle.
Or lobby will get you
A
up.
big ass waffle.
Yeah,
Big ass waffle. For 40 cents.
apparently I'm a lobby main now.
What?
Apparently.
Or Lobby just hates bullies.
Also, a lot of players have been saying that actually. Now that I
What?
think about it.
They want you to be Lobby main?
Yeah.
Why?
Or they're just outright stating I'm a lobby main. I'm like, huh, okay.
Have you even played Lobby?
Of course I've played.
On stream!
No.
Yeah, so you
Wait,
can't-
I did.
When?
When?
During the sneak.
That's different. Everyone,
Oh,
everyone
everyone
played
played
Lobby. This is why you get bullied.
Yes.
No, everyone played
This
lobby.
right here.
We had base jobs.
Oh,
Back when Chung had a wig. Anyway,
GM Mosh is busy dying.
I'm gonna stop dying now.
that's a good idea.
Famous last words.
That's a good idea.
Ah. Says
Hello.
nobody ever.
Hey, Lucky Rabbit!
Hello.
What did I come to? You've come
Nothing, just
into-
us rambling.
Yes! Wait. Yes, I was also lobby during the IB competition.
Oh yeah.
What was I thinking? You're
What?
right. You are a lobby maid. Sorry, I just wanted to give everybody a
And
bit of truth.
scene.
The curtains closed.
Hi. So, legitimately, what would you consider nostalgia? So, anyone who's tuning in right now, people are kind of rolling in as we go through. This is the GM's day off, where we do nothing but talk shit, bullshit,
And
and
we say shit
say shit.
and be okay with saying shit. Cause shit is allowed.
I mean, as a kid, I was denied a lot of games, so most of my games came from arcade machines.
Do tell.
So,
Show me on the doll where they hurt you.
just points to the mind all the time. So I guess Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay.
Is it Metal Slug? I think it's called.
The SNK?
Metal Slug,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
That thing was a coin chugger, dude.
Dude.
Yes.
That was a thirsty
Yes.
game.
I was so glad that I had an emulator for it later.
I actually had to go buy Marvel vs. Capcom on like a CD to play on that. Yeah,
Wow.
it was really.
For me, it was Street Fighter vs. X-Men. That was before Marvel vs.
And then I finally got a PlayStation.
Capcom. One?
Yes, one.
How
Just
long
making
after?
sure.
How long after PlayStation 1 had come out did you get a PlayStation 1?
I don't know because I don't remember what year I got it or what year the PlayStation 1 came out.
What was
because
the
I
most
was
recent-
a young'un.
What was the most recent game on PS1?
When you got it, yeah. So you got a PS1 when what game came out?
Was it Crash?
Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah. But
It wasn't like super early. It was like,
No,
like a year or two.
it was a lot later. Not sure.
So my benchmark was going to be, did the PS2 come out already before you got
No.
a PS1?
No.
Okay.
Wait, maybe.
That's what I was going to say, because it sounds
Actually-
like you didn't get like
That's a good point because now that you mention it, I might have only got that PlayStation 1 because my cousin got a PlayStation 2 and didn't want his PlayStation 1 anymore. So technically, my parents didn't buy me the PlayStation 1.
It's gonna
I got
hand me
this-
down.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got it really late.
So now that you mentioned the PlayStation 2, I remember going to my cousin's house and playing Kingdom Hearts. So I was like, oh. Huh.
Because I remember the PlayStation 2, because believe it or not, at the time I was working 3 jobs. And one of the jobs I was working at night was at GameStop. At the time it was Electronics Boutique, before they had bought out, GameStop bought out Electronics Boutique. And I was there for the PlayStation 2 launch. And yowza, that was a nightmare. Because that was when Sony had actually sold more PlayStation 2s than they had intention of making at the time. And so there was literally people rioting. And it's, okay, so I'm not big on the whole like Black Friday riot thing. But when you bought and paid all the money for, not down payment, a PS2,
Pre-order.
and you don't get it, and there were like 3 on the wall that there were people were buying off the shelf, I would have been flipping tables. And so I didn't blame the people that did at that point in time flip tables.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Did someone say Bayonetta as a nostalgia game? God dang, you're young.
Nostalgia.
Where's GM Rush at?
Right there.
Did he disappear out of the green screen?
Actually, I might be disappearing. Nostalgia is playing games where you have to switch to the next disc to continue.
I know, Coke, that was truly horrifying.
And you know what's the worst? This 3 is scratched.
Oh,
What?
this 3 scratched.
It's the worst. Worst feeling in the world.
I was born in 2001. Leave me alone.
Wow.
It's Zeno would still be 18.
17.
It's 2019.
What birthday?
What birthdays? What if they were born in January?
Are you? Hi, Zemnuff.
Sonic? Yeah, I remember Sonic.
Yeah, Static.
I hated
Yeah.
Sonic.
What? That all you have to do is press forward
I know.
and have fun.
I know, but it wasn't fun. Anyway.
At any point in time, actually, Coke, it's more like PG-13 ish. If any point in time, Russia's nostalgia starts to trigger people, just let us know and we'll throw them out into the parking lot.
Wow, 2004, 2002. Wow.
Uh,
Damn.
We care. Kind of.
Mario 64 was the best ever for my siblings.
I'm gonna say now, Nintendo 64 was a crap system.
Actually, I also remember Mario.
The stupid controller was the worst designed controller in the whole
But
universe.
you know what's funny is people are going to say, oh, but GoldenEye, oh, but Turok, oh, but Mario. Like, that was when Mario went 3D with the... And I was just like, all of
I
those...
hated it.
That's 64.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. It's like, everyone else is like, but that's nostalgia. And I was like, for gamers that are my age,
It destroyed.
that was the dark age.
Yeah, it destroyed nostalgia.
Destroyed gaming. Castlevania when it went 3D, Zelda when it went 3D, like all those games literally, like the gamers from my generation literally started rioting. They're like, you're destroying these games. Not because we were stuck in the olden days, there was a certain amount of immersion. The music, I'm like, Final Fantasy. Like there were very key benchmarks that needed to be observed in order for that game to still capture its soul. And they had new composers, new artists, new teams. And I was like, how are you gonna like reinvent the wheel and then still call it that game? Metroid too. I was like,
Well, I guess Zelda survived it.
Zelda had to go through a reemergence because when it actually transferred, if it wasn't for Zelda on mobile, 3DS and stuff like that, they would have died. Because the transition to 64 and then onto the Wii were all
Twilight Princess and all that stuff.
they crashed.
Skyward Sword. My God.
When they were operating out of time to Majora's again.
Did any game that made me change the control, like camera control to the shoulder preference, I was like, I'm not gonna play this game. Like just have a smart camera that follows me. Instead I'm like, I turn right, oh god, just camera.
I need to solve this puzzle, let me look around this room. Now you've got the gyroscopic, so you like take your
Well,
switch.
Metroid was on GameCube though. That was a 3D one, I think.
Cube, yeah. Same with Castlevania.
What? Castlevania had 3D?
Yeah. See? See?
I don't know. I probably didn't pay attention.
Smash Bros!
I see, like, I don't really like Nintendo games that much.
I like the IPs that Nintendo created. I don't necessarily like where a lot of them ended up. But I mean, I remember having The Legend of Zelda on day one. I remember pulling that gold package out of it. So the smell of the instruction books that were like this thick. Well, that was before you had to blow on them because everyone's systems were still new enough to where that didn't have to happen. Zelda was also the first game cartridge with a battery with an actual onboard save feature. That burnout.
Hey!
Castlevania
3D was
good though. You're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to have it.
Yes, I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know about it, obviously. Anything that came up, you're like, this in 3D, I'm like,
Yeah, because, well, they're trying to
like
make...
movies.
Right.
When they did the 3D phase, oh god, that was like the worst thing ever.
They're gonna make Pokemon into 3D.
Is it already 3D?
More 3D. Like, actually.
More 3D? Like 4D?
It was more 3D-er than the last 3D.
It's still 3D.
Hey, Anima, we're not going to be talking about anything else or during the stream. Thank you very much.
No.
Force me to what? What, Kogi?
Force me to. Castlevania 3D was good though. Force me to.
Well, but that's the thing, though, is what pissed me off about that whole transition was you didn't get an option. Anybody who bought on and was familiar with the world that was immersed in those worlds, it was like, since you love all of these games, you have no other option now but to play this really crappy version. And so anybody who wasn't even on board through what had happened in the days of watching it kind of come up were like, this is the only version of that game you get, so you don't have a choice but to say,
you like it.
You like it, yeah. That is, no.
Or don't play. Or play the older versions.
Right.
Which is what people did for Smash,
Yes.
like, no, I'm not playing the freaking Wii version of Smash. I'm going back to my GameCube.
Lucky Rabbit, any hype for Metroid Prime 4? I'm like, I didn't know there was
Yes.
Prime
Any other
anything.
ones?
Yeah, no.
I remember.
I think the GameCube one was the Prime one. It was made by the Team Ninja, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably very positive reviews, but I still don't believe in the FPS controls in this controller.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I remember Space Pinball too. On the computer. Windows, start, games.
Okay, so here's one. Nostalgia. I'm going to say the system. You tell me a game for that system.
Okay.
Nintendo.
Which one?
NES.
Okay.
Super NES.
I didn't have it. Oh, Lion King.
Fighting game.
That game is bomb.
Nice. Yes,
That game
it
was
was. PlayStation.
bomb.
PlayStation 2.
Oh, I have so many games for PlayStation
Okay, so now we have to milk.
2.
Okay.
FF10.
Yeah, that's a kicker. Genesis.
Sonic.
Sonic. Dreamcast.
Power Stone.
The OG brawler.
That game was the best.
PC. I know. Like
so many.
PC.
Probably
that's
StarCraft.
that's
StarCraft?
Yeah, StarCraft 1. Alright. Are we at a garage? Yes. You are correct.
I guess.
And every great thing was born in the garage, so you gotta be great.
Okay, so I know
I'm just
you
gonna
need to
say
have
before my time for like half of those.
So
That's how the PS1 for
right. What version of Pokemon is your favorite?
Silver.
Silver.
Actually, no, crystal.
What was the first version of Pokemon you played?
Blue.
Blue.
I need to play Gen 1.
And are you looking forward for a new full version of Pokemon?
Yes.
Like specifically why?
Why? Because
And I, not Pokemon why. I mean why question mark.
I'm just gonna go ahead and assume there's gonna be a new generation, which means more competitive combinations for me to muck around with.
Okay, so when you say competition, you also say so he's for those who aren't too familiar, when we say that Rush is a competitive Pokemon player,
It's a Pokemon.
what we're not kidding. Like he actually
Black and white.
plays tournaments. So
Yeah.
would you rather compete in the gaming environment, TCG environment, or
Pokemon Go.
oh god.
Yes,
Do you keep Snorlax on your
No,
so-
I keep Metagross on my gyms. Thank you very much.
Oh.
I'm just joking.
Okay, so would you prefer playing in the gaming environment or TCG environment?
Like for Pokemon specifically or any game?
For Pokemon specifically.
For
For
Pokemon,
on the competitive scene.
I like the video games slightly better in most metas, I guess. Sometimes the meta can get stale, and then I'll go to TCG going.
So just because of the options you have available, you like it's more enjoyable.
It doesn't have to
play
buy
video games.
additional cards to get change its meta.
How many cards do you have?
I didn't count.
Is it possible to count in one day how many cards you have?
Probably not. Wait, no, I just moved house. Yes.
No. Your whole collection. Your whole collection. Not what you have on hand. Your whole collection. Would you be able to count, sit down and count, and not literally have that counting process take hours?
Okay, no.
Okay, see?
My collection is quite expensive.
Okay, so if you expand beyond Pokemon, how many other TCG games do you play competitively?
Right now, competitively,
Total.
Used
Not
to.
right now.
Used to.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's 6 card games?
Well, you said
There's way
in
more.
history.
I only know Magic the Gathering.
I played 6.
And Yu-Gi-Oh!
6? Blue Eyes White Dragon? Yeah. So, 6.
Yes. All up. Though a lot of these games, like I abandoned or they've died out or etc.
Did we play Conker's Bad Fur Day on NC?
Oh god, yes.
I did not.
That game was
I refused
crazy.
to own a Nintendo system after N64.
uh,
I stopped.
Blue Eyes deck for the win,
No,
right?
I was more Red Eyes. Sorry.
Oh yeah, because
Blue Eyes is
meta.
Exactly, see?
You just want to be edgy, that's all.
Plus I like Joey. I'm sorry. It has to be said.
So, you would basically say that of all of the games, okay, no, because Vanguard was your most, like, the biggest
Recently, yeah.
recent. But is it your favorite? Or is that just kind of what you're doing now?
Yeah, it's more of what I'm doing now, I guess. Yes.
So now that Magic has made a massive resurgence. I hear you may be dabbling again.
Yes, I went to the pre-release.
You did.
At midnight.
At midnight.
Ah!
Midnight
I did
pre-release.
not know they had a midnight opening for cards.
Yes, they do.
So that was fun.
A big hype box release is like legit line in front of stores release.
Yeah, I had to pre-order and get my spot.
Did they have loose boxes?
I picked one up.
Oh, so you had your pre-order and you picked up another box. Okay. I was gonna say, I know for like I said before, I mean this is going way back, but when they launched Acadia Masks, there were no loose boxes. Every box was spoken for on that palette.
Yeah, I had to prepare myself.
If anything, what's funny is the store that my buddy used to own a comic book store, and when I say comic book store, it was like all things. So it was all TCGs, all tabletop gaming, comic books literally lining 3 or 4 walls in a 1,500
Figures.
square foot, action figures, yeah, the whole nine. But the store made a critical mistake in not snapping up a couple boxes for themselves, busting the boxes and putting the packs out. And then like obviously, I know it felt bad like a vulture, but dropping $5 on every pack, like basically, whoever's here for pre-sale, you also get to pick up a couple packs or whatever for some, obscene amount of money.
Now it's getting better. They get like a promo if you get a box from the art store that you won't be able to get otherwise. So I think that.
It's good, man, because Wizards of the Coast used to be very hands-off because they didn't have to be. They're like, we're not going to offer promos because we don't have to. We're going to sell out of everything. Nobody cares. You're going to give us money anyway.
I was like, I will help you.
Yeah, now it's like, we need to be number one again.
So they're doing a good job.
And I feel bad, too, because the MTG is hurting Hearthstone. Bad!
Yeah, I kinda.
Well, Hearthstone is hurting himself bad.
Well, true, but what I mean is like, they were in a space where technically they didn't have any competition. Word to the wise out there, a lot of people don't realize that like when you have games, I'm going to throw some people under the bus. Game companies like Games Workshop, now this is just my opinion. Well, it's a little bit more than my opinion, but for the sake of the video, it's going to be my opinion. Companies like Games Workshop, companies like Universal, some of these, they have their production teams are very hands-on. And so what used to bother me is you have these companies, they had no experience in making video games. They have no experience, but what they do is they're so obsessive about their IP that they're telling these video game companies and they're telling these game companies that this is the way it needs to be. And the game companies are like, that's not how this works.
That's not gonna translate well.
It's not gonna, exactly, it's not going to translate well. And it's going to hurt the way the actual core game functionality is even going to be able to apply. And so when they did that, so that's why you saw so many different game companies, like especially Warhammer had a horrible transition. So back when Space Hulk launched, everybody was just like going out of their heads to play Warhammer 40k on a video game, especially a first-person shooter with Terminators killing gene stealers on Space Hulks, which are basically space crashes where they had to go through and purge the Xenos from long story.
Didn't they have like 2 or 3 failed MMOs? I remember playing at least 2 of them.
There was Warhammer Fantasy, and that MMO had just massive hype, and then it blew its load within. If you played the game for more than a couple hours, then you
were done.
You were done. There was just this object lesson that all these companies were doing. So there's another company that has a game with aliens in it, and when my buddy was working on the game, they were finishing, and aliens are supposed to be dark and scary, and the producer was like, "Oh, can we make the aliens purple?" And certain developers don't like taking
Suggestion.
of that capacity from very specific types of people. And he went, they're supposed to be black, right? By canon. I mean, he's like, just by reference, here's the design doc provided to us by the creators of the IP. And they're like, yeah, but they would pop more if they were purple. And I was like, at that time, I realized why some people want to execute producers in broad daylight.
It's true.
And the problem is because the producer had so much pull, forced it through, and they had to make the aliens tinged purple.
Nice.
And he
So
was
a souped-up car.
yeah. So my buddy was it looked like one of the looked like it belonged in the second line of Fast and Furious
Yeah.
with a big shopping cart handle in the back. But yeah, that was what happened. And so you have these companies that try to flex all of that control over the IP and they get obsessive over it. And what happens is they start to destroy the very core nature of what they're trying to do. And what they don't realize until after it's way too late that their shitty decisions came back and destroyed the actual IP itself. So now you've got these game companies with these IPs that have a truck ton of busted games that nobody wants to play and they think it's okay. Like they're like, but we thought it was fun. You're not, you know, who you're making a game for. Yeah, you can sell it exactly. But then so you flash forward, and you have companies like Blizzard. Like when anybody would be absolutely high to not know that Warcraft was built. Basically, there was no video games about Warhammer, and so they were like, let's create a game that just has all of those the facets and da 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 da. But that's what happened with Magic. Fast forward, so we're going to digress back to the key point, which is you had basically you can go ahead if you want.
No, I'm just checking.
the Hearthstone was very similar. Like let's have like an actiony TCG that's going to be playable. That's very flashy, very poppy. Plays on names that everybody knows and circumstances, and they did it well.
You can spend money on
it. People are going to spend money on it. But then you look at Magic, and Magic should have been the originators. They're like with Games Workshop, where they should have been the ones to naturally make that transition. But then out of nowhere, this latest the Hearthstone came first, and they were just like, look, we're Blizzard.
Shadowverse too.
Yeah, Shadowverse is also, is that kind of similar because Blizzard missed out on the Dota?
Yeah.
So if they moved on the Dota thing, League, Heroes of New Earth, like everything, Dota 2, it could have been all Blizzard.
But that's what I was. So that was going to be my end game on this. Is where do you draw the line? So like Games Workshop, Blizzard. No, Blizzard, because Blizzard was art, mimicry of art, art imitating reality at that point. So you had all of these games that didn't have that video game representation. They created their own worlds from that. So I don't necessarily want to say that Dota was the recreation of that art imitating reality, except in another facet, which then was the launch of the MOBA. But if you look at kind of where the game companies go, where do you draw the line and say, Games Workshop did Warhammer, they did Warhammer 40K, or if you go back to FASA did BattleTech, they did Shadowrun, they did all these tabletop RPGs. When do you basically draw the line and say, that's what you guys do well? Should you allow the video game companies to emulate your environment and then go for licensing? Versus you saying, we're going to make a video game and we're going to let them know exactly how to make it. I'm like, yeah, there's a disconnect. There's the problem.
I mean, I think it's mostly like knowing your like limit, like because you've been doing this one thing for so long. Doesn't necessarily just because you understand every concept of it doesn't mean you can actually build a rocket like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like you could design the blueprint and everything, but doesn't mean you're gonna go out there, cut steel, and then put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
That's for different people. So I think it's like, yeah, you could like give concepts, maybe like story, like how the world should be, but like actual mechanical stuff, like technical stuff, should be left to the technicians, which is the game company, or people who make games.
So here's the kicker. How many game companies do you know? How many game companies do you know that are out there that make crap games? Too many. Yes, I play Warhammer 40K. Now, not the minis game. I'm absolutely enamored with the lore of 40K. Yes. But I was just actually talking to Rush about this the other day. I call it shitty chess.
Yes.
Because what happened when I play tabletop games, you have this miniature, and so when my buddy owned that comic shop I was telling you about earlier, I was a closet nerd. And so I saw all this nerd stuff that was going on. This is a long time ago, so we're talking 1997. I see them doing all this nerd stuff. Like, they actually had a whole hall, probably from this wall to the conference room, empty, just tables of tabletop gaming. And I saw them with these big, elaborate maps with, like, the grassy hills, like, all the details, you know, all the bits.
They used to have that store, Games Workshop store, in one of the big malls in Toronto. I would used to go and be like, whoa, this is, well, how much are they? I was looking at it, and then the ones they were selling were just like, great. I was like, wait.
Yeah,
You have to paint them.
I was like, never mind. I looked at it.
And then you look at the price per box, and you're like,
Yeah.
you have to do a whole army of these? It's like a fortune.
And then you go,
Wait. I'm gonna play guard, which means I have to run twice the number of Xenos, where you gotta like literally like field 2 or 3 more times the number of. Oh no.
and that's why I stuck to chess, guys.
So when I was telling him, I was like, so I'm at my buddy's shop and I'm looking at these elaborate, detailed, lush maps with these really cool characters and Chaos Army and the I love all the Imperium stuff too, just because their lore is so freaking crazy. Harlequin, Eldar, Dark Eldar, like all that stuff, super cool.
And then it's like, how do you play?
Sisters of Battle, and then because I literally picked up an Abaddon figure, and I was like, this dude is friggin' nuts. And he's like, oh, that's Primarch Abaddon, and I was like, yeah, what does he do? And no, he moves forward 3 and rolls damage for 10, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and then the dice came out, and the whole like ruler-looking thing came out.
The explosion, the AOE templates.
I like Monopoly better.
Right? And I was like, no, like, what does he do? Like, what are the RPG elements? Like, how is this dude like this Primarch, which is basically like a demigod, and he was like, no, that's just flavor text. Well, then why the F have it? I mean, you have this whole RPG element.
It's
like,
fanfic.
why didn't?
We like our fan fictions. We didn't write
50
all
Shades
day.
of Marine.
Oh, there's so many bad ways to take that joke or to run with it. It depends. But so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the minis games.
Any underrated games?
Ooh. Rush already knows my underrated game of the year is
I do.
L5R.
Oh, fine.
Legend of 5 Rings.
Oh.
L5R, both from the tabletop RPG side and the card game. Because L5R was rated as one of the best card games ever.
But no one's
But nobody's heard of it. So Legend of the 5 Rings, I'd probably say.
Need for Speed Underground too.
Oh, so video games? Underrated video games?
Need for Speed Underground 2 was pretty good.
Yes.
Actually, like the first one better though.
I actually lost track of what happens in each this week.
Is there a story?
I remember there
Is
was
it
one.
like independent for each game?
For what?
Need for Speed.
Need for Speed.
Because I remember there was one.
Because like, I heard the most wanted one is like one of the ones that people consider the best.
You said, what, 9? FF9? Probably one of the most underrated?
Yeah, but FF in general has a big fan base, so I wouldn't say it's underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah, I think it's just 7 is overhyped. That's all.
Overrated.
Yeah,
Underrated.
overrated. Xenogears.
Underrated? Yeah, but Xeno has a massive cult following too.
Mugen? What?
It does, but it still is one of those like small things where people are like the people who grab like PS1s from like thrift shops and what's a good game? Usually people think, oh, FF7, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
One guy like
Xenogears.
Xenogears.
That's true. That's true.
Tale series has a big fan base, dude. It's not underrated.
Could have picked something without a big.
Parappa the Rapper. When that game first came out, that game was huge.
Yes.
It was huge. It's not underrated.
Parappa.
If anything, like Jet Set Radio, I think was really underrated.
Jet Set had the TV commercials and all that kind of stuff too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw more Jet Set than I did Parappa, but I saw Parappa later because of the whole Jet Set didn't have the mascot stuff. so it wasn't sellable. When Parappa came up with that whole dog with the beanie,
Beanie.
yeah, that was like that was it. It was a
Persona
No, you can't say any
Ooh,
Personas.
No, Persona's got a
Yeah.
massive
You
following.
can't say
Like
Personas.
global.
Although
Okay.
Persona 2 was before Persona became popular. 3 was the one that went like,
It's true.
I did enjoy Persona.
and then 4, and then 5.
Why?
I didn't like 5 though.
No, I didn't. I think Persona 5 did the same thing that Final Fantasy 15 did.
Mm.
They were like, hey, we're going to try to be hip, edgy, and cool and have all these different design elements that make it. I was like, yeah, but you're ruining the game.
No one knows about Persona 2.
No. Nobody wasn't born in the last decade doesn't know about Persona 2.
One people don't pay much attention to.
Yeah, usually it's 3, 4, or 5.
Mm.
People don't really mention 2 that much. But to be fair, 2 wasn't that great of a game.
When you ask someone about it now, they usually only know 4 and 5. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, 4 was the big one.
I know 3, 4, and 5. There you go.
3 was when stuff that was the kickoff.
Yeah.
It was like Final Fantasy 6. Everyone's like, Final Fantasy 7. I'm like, you had no idea that 6 literally took the RPG world by the head and shook it.
That made people come.
Yes. Nice!
Phrasing. We gotta work on that.
This is a reoccurring theme with Rush, so we're
Yes.
apologizing in advance for any inadvertent miscalculations and verbiage.
Miscalculation.
Yes.
I guess people thought it got good as the story developed. Each story is different.
Persona is interesting. At least for 4, it's like RPG plus school life plus like love simulator type of shit. Like,
Uh,
kind of interesting.
I'm nostalgic for Persona 3.
what was it? Persona 2? Going into Persona 3, where the whole Alice in Wonderland flip mirror demonic world
Yeah.
became more like
More like
story, like core story. Because it was so much about 2, that whole like cut mirror image stuff, that they didn't do it.
they still had the Shin Megami Tensei vibe.
Yeah.
And then 3 they really went with the vibe.
Five is 3 all put together.
I didn't like 5.
You don't play it, Jeff. You gotta take into account. This is a common mistake. The teams that made 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not all the same teams. So you can't say the writing got better. The writing got different. The writing was adjusted. Some of the producers and stuff were the same, but the teams were different.
They probably
couldn't
spent
go,
more money on the writers.
like Square level.
Yeah.
Like they were like, hold on, we need to follow Square's cue. We need $1 million just based on core story
We
implementation.
need to up our story.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's the really hard thing too. I think that's also so for nostalgic purposes. The Planescape tournament, they literally had to go out and get a crazy writer for that game to literally make it literally listed still to this day, literally as one of the top three RPGs of all time across any genre. But when they realized that they had to deal with a real writer, how they were going to implement that into an RPG world broke their brains. Because the level of, I mean, can imagine trying to make a game or a game like Game of Thrones, like actually into a video game.
Everybody died.
But to actually have the RPG elements represented in a gaming environment.
We can't have a long ass script like you can in the book.
Well, if you ever played Planescape, even the Tie to Numeria, there's a lot of script. And see, that would kill Rush because
No,
Rush is that guy.
Skips.
I am that guy.
He skips.
He skips.
I am that guy who see all the story except in Fire Emblem, and then Fire Emblem is the only game I'd actually read, and I guess that is also another game nostalgic.
There you go. Wait, how far back Fire Emblem?
That's a good question. I just know Fire Emblem. I don't know the actual subtitle
Yeah.
because it all blends together for me. Not Fire Emblem. That's a sin. What?
But he just said Fire Emblem. Which 3DS Fire Emblem should I start with? A nostalgic one.
Well, you either have the Awakening or Conquest. I guess Awakening is alright. It has Lucina. So, Awakening? What are your top 3 favorite games ever? That is not a wise question to
That's
ask.
gotta be changed every day. It's like
So-
whatever you remember.
How about a real life game, console game, PC game,
It's a real life game.
tabletop? Or
Board game.
I don't play tabletop games.
he only plays video games.
3 top favorite games. Tabletop, I guess. Chaotic, I spent the most time on. Yes, I'll go with Chaotic for a card game. For console game. Crash Bandicoot. I like it.
I hate it.
I like it. Crash.
3D platformers give me rage.
Maybe it's because I was a
If you
kid.
had enjoy.
I think it was
Cannot get
because I
the
was a
depth
kid.
perception, right?
Oh, 3, yeah, like runners?
Yeah.
No.
Ragnarok Online, yeah, I play that a lot.
I could not get into Ragnarok. I tried.
I
so
think
many
that was
times.
like second most played MMO. First being
Ragnarok?
WoW, yeah. I played a lot of Ragnarok.
No, I could not get into it.
So you would know my disappointment when Tree of Saber came out. It was nothing like Ragnarok.
What about your PC?
PC? What did I spend most time on PC? Okay, the game I spent most time on PC is Rage Game. I still play it to this day. But
Okay.
I mostly a merchant and that's why I can't say I had fun in that. So
Oh, you're merchant.
yes, I'm a merchant though. That's what I do. I like earning
I
money.
was a priest in Ragnarok, but I had put all my stats into strength. So I had a mace just like slamming away at the zombies. Everyone's like healing them and like trying to kill them. I'm like,
Darn. Yeah, I really don't know the PC game. I have no like definitive. I go to you every time. I played League a lot as well during
Mhm.
high school and uni.
League is another minis game for me. I'll see characters that I like and story background and design.
What does he
like
do?
that. I'm like, what does he do? He's a juggler. He's the best juggler in the game. And I'll be like,
dude, when I first played League, I was like, oh, I like this ninja guy I played. His name was Shen. And I was like, he must be really strong.
He's not.
He's a tank.
He is a tank.
I was like, why would you make a ninja tank? So I was like, trying to kill people. I was like,
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
no, it does not.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this game is weird.
Maybe because I actually had the opportunity to go meet with friends and play. I guess League was most fun for me.
Yeah, I like Dota All Stars the most. If I was to pick a mobile game, that's the one I played.
Dota was great as a kid too. I played Dota before League. So yeah, Dota is something else.
I can't move on.
Well,
Yeah, it's like I said, the biggest issue is that it turns into a tabletop game for me, like the minis games. If I cannot get immersed into the artwork and the storyline and everything else like that, then I want nothing to do with it.
I actually have a bit of that when I pick like League characters and heroes. I like read into the lore before I click on the character.
Yeah.
And then I try and like pseudo emulate their story into their character. So like I'm like, okay, so say this Jax person.
Oh yeah, there's a guy. There's a character called Urgot.
Yes.
He has crab legs. Like he has 4 mechanical legs. He bought 4 boots. Cause each one needs a shoe. And you only get 6 inventory slots. So he was not doing good. But are these shoes for all feet?
Oh my gosh. They actually implemented a passive on one of the champions based on that.
They're having many shoes.
No, like there was a snake champion, Cassiopeia,
Doesn't need a shoe.
and then they were like, yeah, it's like, since Cassiopeia has no feet, we added a passive that gives her movement speed so she doesn't need boots. I was like,
That's stupid.
I love it. Now can I not buy boots in my floating ghost thing?
Here's a hard question. First game ever played.
Mario. Mario 1.
If Tamagotchi doesn't count,
No.
and Digimon doesn't count, then Pokemon.
What? They had a little Digimon thing?
Like a little, like the Digimon gadget.
Oh no! It's like actual like video game.
Then no,
Pokemon.
Pokemon was my first.
I'm trying to remember what mine was.
Blue.
Zork. I do remember.
Zork?
Text RPG.
Oh.
It was not fun, and because I was very young when that happened. So I'd say the first video game I played was probably Space Invaders, Burger Time, like that genre. So literally going back to that days. Not far back as Pong, because I never considered it a game. Like I watched people play Pong, and I was
This
like,
is fun.
that does like the whole concept didn't make sense to me.
The music sound is too loud.
What is with this music today?
Maybe it's just because Xenogears goes up and down in music.
I'll change it to relaxing and calming music from
From Chrono.
Chrono Trigger. There you go.
Yes.
What about the first arcade game you played? Like at an actual arcade?
Marvel vs. Capcom.
King of Fighters.
40 cents for that. Play again.
94!
I was.
It is good music. I like Xenogears music. It's the best.
1984. So I'm trying to remember what game I played at that time.
Someone just fell asleep. Is the music that relaxing? I'm actually curious now. I have to go and listen to this soundtrack.
In the arcade, I don't remember. Because I played. Okay, so when I was a kid, there was no internet. There was no, so you had to go to the arcade in order to get your games on. And I remember. Okay, so this is how old it is. I remember playing Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter, in the arcade. I remember playing. What game was it? I remember going to the Mortal Kombat launch party at Cameron's Arcade in Santa Ana.
They had Mortal Kombat in the arcade machine.
That's
That's
where
it started.
The whole company, Midway, that develops it, all they developed.
And just imagine like fatalities and like
Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
had like the weirdest controls for people who played other fighting games. I tried it. How do you block in this game? What's attack?
Can I block?
What is happening? Because I think they had a button for a block or something, or you're not supposed to be moving or something like that. Because most games just have to move back and re-block.
Yes.
But not in Mortal Kombat. I still couldn't figure it out. I just get it.
I hate mocap games. So when I saw Mortal Kombat and the whole hype behind it, I was like, great, you get to kill people. Time Killers was another one where you get to lop off arms, legs, and everything else like that. Time Killers was actually an illustrated game. It wasn't mocap. But there was like a Viking, and there was like, so it's basically, it was Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat was what it was, but Time Killers was the super edgy, like illustrated, like fighting game that was similar to Mortal Kombat and its whole execution thing.
Did you have a competitive DDR?
Not competitive, but I did play a lot of DDR when I was in high school.
I've never played DDR.
Lies.
It's true. Too much work effort to go in. Like literally, I see the first time I went to see like DDR, my cousin was like sweating all over me. I'm like, nope. Where is
Girl, that is physically
where is
engaging.
any other machine in this arcade?
I used to play that a lot. I don't know why.
So,
I don't even like rhythm games.
so yeah.
I think I just like the music in that machine.
The look. So I'm a judgy bastard. If you guys didn't know. So you know where I'm going with this. When I see people walk up to DDR machines in the same way that like celebrities would step onto a red carpet, like literally people would be like shoulders back with like their like b-boy getup,
Acting all pro and shit.
acting. I couldn't, like I'm staring like a popcorn. My eyes are huge, and I'm like,
crack the
Did they
tower.
seriously just walk up like? So I can't kink shame. And to me, that's what it is. Like I'm not gonna pick on these guys because like in their little circle of friends and in their little nerd circle, like maybe they're hot shit. I mean, it's so I mean I had to learn that later on. Like I told you when we built the first BlizzCon, and the StarCraft guy got out of the limo. So nobody else at BlizzCon actually had a limo, nor a red carpet. But when the StarCraft kids came over from Korea, I had never seen it in the flesh, and neither had a lot of our people. And so when he literally got out wearing like this cosplay like StarCraft like outfit, and there was like
that was like their team uniform.
And the K-pop chicks were with him, and he literally walked out onto the red carpet, and it's the first time all like the American people saw it, and they were like,
"What is going on?"
You could hear crickets when he got out because like he had the glasses, but then you saw all the photographers taking pictures, but there was nobody. Everyone was like,
"Yeah, that's how they're treated in Korea."
What just happened?
Like what's going on? And so he walked in, and everyone was like,
Was Boxer there? Or was it after he retired?
So this was in 2005.
Yeah, it's after. It was probably that skinny dude Flash.
Something like that. Yeah, he was a little guy.
Hey, Darren Davis.
What's up, Darren?
Hi.
What's up?
You used to play Osu and DDR. Sounds like you are quite the rhythm game fan.
I saw Osu and I was like, what? Why?
I can't click fast enough.
Well, people do it with the tablet and the keyboard, so they just click to like track movement and then go ahead.
Yeah.
But instead of drawing, you're using the tablet to play Osu.
if like I see a game on one console, I can't. After playing for a while, I can't bring myself to play it on another. Like,
I'm with you on that.
console or another platform. So if I see
like
Osu,
Pokemon.
Pokemon is just. But like Osu, it's like I have to click, and then once I get used to click, it's like Osu on tablet. I'm like, this doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah. For Pokemon, it's literally start save.
Pokemon is on a different level. Play the Jeff.
Yes, Pokemon is on a completely different level.
Yeah, it's on a Call of Duty level. We're using the same thing over and over again every year.
And working.
Working what?
Working well.
I think
Working for you, because you're a sucker.
COD has got the same following now that Madden has.
There's pretty much the same thing. You get the same game every day, every year with different like skin or whatever.
Well, it gets obviously it's supposed to be improved, but this is where I digress back to what I was saying earlier. It's not the same team every year.
Yeah.
And so different artwork, different dynamics, different UI, different UX, different everything. Different music, different licensing.
Only thing Call of Duty got right is when you hit someone with a gun, that sound that comes. That thing is so rewarding. But that's it.
So, true story. I don't FPS in any reality style game after CS Source. So again, this is back in like 1998.
So Call of Duty would be good for you. It's not real life.
No, is it like
running with the bird?
Yeah, if I saw this game running with a Barrett Light 50, and I'm like, and the dude freaking standing shoots it, I was like, no. So you're either a simulator or you're not. If I'm gonna go, so to this day, so they've been making these kind of games for over 20 years now. Still cannot get the feel of a stab or any sort of physical engagement in an FPS game. It still looks janky AF. It feels janky AF. People running with rifles. I don't care how good the sound effects and the particle effects and everything like that are, because literally when I saw my first video of a dude taking a knife, chucking it up in the air over the mansion wall,
the knife throw,
and knifes that dude, I was like, I'm done. I want absolutely nothing to do with these games ever going forward. And everyone's like, but the feels. And I was like, there's a history behind it, and that's why I'm like, in a combat scenario, what do you mean the feels? How many of y'all have ever been in a combat scenario?
Not many, and that's why they enjoy it.
No, the 99.99999%. I was like, oh, this is awful.
Except that one guy playing from like Afghanistan.
Okay, so here's my problem. One of my buddies, one of the people that I train with, it's Spec Ops, and I got to his house and he's like, "Bro, come watch this." And I go watch it. I see him playing COD, right? And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Or Battlefield, and the winter map one, the modern day winter map, where they take the ice hooks and they climb up the wall. I can literally see the hairs on the back of his arms standing up as he's climbing this ice wall.
That's Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty. So he's doing the
Modern Warfare 2. It had a really good single player scenario.
So this guy was literally reliving training ops in tundra environments, climbing this thing, and I could literally like see him go whoa, and he's like living it. And I was like, how cool is that? And he was like, good, until I got into the jet ski part, and then I felt like I was in an action movie again. It was really shitty. But he was like, the environment, like the heart rate and the music and the camera swings and everything else like that. I literally felt like I was back on tundra training. And I was like, see, I can't pick on some people anymore, because here's this guy who is literally Black Ops, U.S. Spec Ops from like year to year, and he's literally going, I dig this. And then he says, when you're done with that, you get onto a jet ski or a snow, what do you call them? Snowmobile. And then you're shooting with like an AK sideways off the side of a snowmobile. And he was like, oh.
Immersion lost.
Yeah. But
there were some good moments in that game.
But I mean, some of it was very real.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the games try to simulate so much that anybody who's got the two brain cells to knock together will realize that it's all bubblegum from the shot. That's why Quake. I love Quake. This is not an emulator. This is not reality. This is badass music and give the hell out of your
teammate. No, not teammates.
We never play team.
Oh, free for all?
Always free for all.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
Deathmatch.
Free.
Took ice towers.
See someone shoot him.
Telefrag.
I like it.
Who's Terra Strong?
Oh. Yeah, I'm good with Terra Strong.
Animes? No. I stopped after Overlord. I haven't really found a good anime I want to watch.
Just the gambling one that I've been watching. The Kakegurui, I think it's called. It's great.
I'm not watching any series right now. I wanted to start getting into Your Name and a couple of the other movie scenarios.
Name a movie?
Yes, that's why I said I don't watch series.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wasn't paying attention.
No, I was just trying to process. I thought he said series.
I said I don't watch series, but most recent animes and anime.
Why do you get her, and why didn't you get Terra and Elsword?
We're not going to talk about Elsword.
I'm not really for the recent seasonal anime. I mean, a lot of the good ones are ending soon. Slowly.
Terra Strong.
Leo? Oh, okay. I was so confused. I was like, what? For some reason, I was thinking of the model chick. Banks?
Tyra Banks and Terra Strong.
Starts with a T.
Hey,
Ends with a K.
Hey, Phantom Pain. Welcome back.
Hi. We're doing good.
We are.
Just about to wrap up, actually.
So, just to give you guys a heads up on how things work. When you want to get somebody to do VO, you have to have 1, an experience, 2, a production team, 3, direction, 4, studio, 5,
money,
6, a Rolodex, 7, comprehension of how the Screen Actors Guild and unions work, 7, access to Screen Actors and Union Guild managers and talent agencies that have access to said individuals that are working with particular projects or allotments for unions in that capacity. 8, you're going to have to, again, reach out to those people and make a pitch to find out if they'd even be remotely interested, as in their managers, not them themselves, Yeah. So anyway, like I was gonna say, there's a there's a trick.
How to get voice actors. Bye.
What is this music? It's the music from Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
And you do the final countdown, final dungeon. No. Chrono Trigger, the final countdown dungeon.
What you talking about?
I thought he was talking about that final countdown stuff.
That's meme status.
I know. That's why I was trying to figure out what he meant by final dungeon.
No.
They said no.
No.
XD.
You started it. Reap what you sow.
Alright, I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
tomorrow, lobby test server for Second Path will be opening at 5 p.m. We are going to announce soon the streamers that we have picked, and then you can go watch them, and then you can win some prizes.
Yeah.
In the giveaway.
Yeah.
But that information will be posted later today. Sometime today.
Is that an energy drink you're all drinking? No, mine's sparkling water. You can't see it because green screen, but it's Perrier. So, oh my gosh. This actually looks like a really cool can.
So.
What?
I'm mesmerized, I'm sorry.
Do you look away?
I always look away.
Okay.
We can't help it. All right, everybody, we're going to reformat what's going to be happening with GM's day off and eventually breathe some life back into this whole effect.
Yes.
And we will discuss more on that a little bit later. But stay tuned. Watch what's going on over at KOG Games.
Mm-hmm.
Come tune in if you have not.
Subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
Yes.
Follow us on Twitch.
Did you have a direction?
And
to
log in to Elsword.
So that was what's going to be said. So one of the reasons we started this whole GM's Day Off thing is because we wanted to see how many people were actually on YouTube,
Yes.
following YouTube.
Yes.
If we have an unlisted video that was not advertised in any real capacity, we just like kick a little something out on Discord every once in a while and see who wants to come shoot the shit for a minute.
The sheet.
Then we will proceed. And if you guys like what you see, or you want to see us do fun stuff here, where we're kind of unchecked, unmitigated, we can talk about anything the hell we want, then we will continue to do so. But we'll put it in a better format and kind of put things on point. We just got to figure out how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But the reason we don't is because we use Twitch for some things, we use YouTube for some things.
Well, YouTube, we always streamed at Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Which was when we started.
Yeah.
But only people who actually had their notifications on. Speaking of, turn on the notifications on our YouTube channel.
Get that bell button.
Smash that bell button.
Smash that bell button.
Oh my gosh.
This is why you don't get all the smashing bells.
I know.
It's because you don't ask.
And you're the only one that plays Smash, right?
I know. So how can you smash if you don't smash?
Hulk no like.
Wasn't a fan of the Hulk.
No Smash no like.
It's more of a Doctor Strange guy.
This guy doesn't like the Hulk or Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't.
Because he's just a hipster.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Don't even say you're not. You move away from stuff whenever it gets popular.
If you do not,
Yes, that's what a hipster is.
No, actually, no, that's not entirely true. If a non-meta thing I play becomes meta, I'll stick with it for a bit before selling it. Well, it's at its price. Same thing with characters. Like Blue and
But Blue Hand will never be meta.
it will, eventually.
No,
it lost
it
its
won't.
chance.
You must believe.
I've seen where your belief sends you.
You don't even want it to be meta anyway.
No, I think he's actually getting bored and he's just hoping it's going to be meta one day so it gives him an excuse to stop playing it. Ha! Anyway, we will see you folks later.
Tomorrow.
They're real YouTubers now.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
What?
We're real YouTubers.
Yeah, we are. Not until they hit 100 likes. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Alright, see you guys. Oh, we'll be streaming on Twitch tomorrow at 4.
Yes.
To hand off our stream like the last time to the opener of the stream.
The mystery streamer
someone that
opener.
will host them at 5 when the live test server is open.
Ah.
So they'll be streaming that.
Yes. So, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Labby love and labby lovers.
We gotta go now.
Bye.
Bye.
We gotta click this button and they will be gone.
Slowly.